Gabbard.
Aloha. Good to see everybody.
You just rocked the house in here, inside. Our folks are here. Tell us what the main part of your speech was.
The main message and the warning bells I'm sounding here today and across the country, Steve, is about how our democracy is under attack. Abraham Lincoln warned in his speech to the Lyceum about how the real threat to our country can only come from within. And if we are not careful, we will commit that suicide ourselves. Well, that threat from within is occurring right now. And the only ones who can save us as a country, as a republic from destruction is we the people, all of us, recognizing that if we cherish peace and freedom, we have to take our country back.
What Lincoln said, all the powers on earth could not come and take a drink, I think, out of the Ohio River,
yes,
where it meets the Mississippi, but that we would collapse, right? We would collapse, and if that collapse, the collapse would come because of internal. Do you think it's as dangerous today? President Lincoln gave us that warning in about 1858.
That's right.
Do you think it's as dangerous today as it was then?
I think yes, potentially. This is the most dangerous time I have seen in my life. I can say that for certain. I've never been one of those politicians who many of you have probably heard from year after year after year. They say, this is the most important election of our time. We need you to get out and vote. We need you to give money. I've never said that before until this election, which is why I'm doing all that I can to help spread this message far and wide, regardless of your political party, regardless of which candidate you like or you don't like. Our founders, as you know, Steve, had really big differences and disagreements, sometimes fierce debates on a lot of issues, but ultimately they came together around our founding principles. Now is that time that we, the people, need to do the same.
President Trump in 16, after we won, you were still a congressman, Democrat congressman, but you did come up and interview with President Trump. He was absolutely blown away. We selected Rex, was it Tillis? We selected somebody else. You
can't remember his name.
You were there for Secretary of State. You were not selected. Nikki Haley was there, got you in. In hindsight, do you wish we had moved and offered you a position in the administration? And if you had taken it, what would you have done differently than we did in those early years?
That's a huge question. Of course, I would have loved to have been in a position to help shape the foreign policy of our country.
You would have been in a Trump administration?
Yes. My commitment has always been and continues to be, how and where can I best serve our country? Period. Full stop.
You're a lieutenant colonel. You just got promoted. You're a lieutenant colonel.
Yes.
U.S. Army?
Army Reserve, yes.
Army Reserve. What infantry? What branch?
I am a civil affairs officer. We are known in the Army as the warrior diplomats.
Wow.
I love it.
Those ones that really go in to the combat zones and sort things out.
The real thing when we talk about foreign policy, and there's too many issues to get into here in detail, but fundamentally we need leaders in our country, in the administration, elected leaders who are shaping our foreign policy with the objective of acting in the best interests of the American people and our national security. Too often we have politicians with knee-jerk emotional reactions saying we need to go topple this dictator or punish this dictator or do this or do that without even thinking about how this will affect us, how it will affect the American people, how it will affect our economy, how it will affect our security. Fundamentally, that is the most direct change that we need to see in our foreign policy that crosses both party lines.
But you even then warned President Trump about Syria, about what was going on, about the administrative state, the deep state, moves that you thought were not done in the best. And you saw this in your service to the country. You said,
yes,
hey, I don't think this is the best interest of the country. Do you think it's gotten worse since then?
It has gotten worse, and it's become more brazen and happening in broad daylight. When we talk about the national security state, and unfortunately, and President Trump has talked about how he saw and learned a lot of lessons because of the people who were put in positions like John Bolton and others who pretty openly rejected President Trump's policies then, and the bureaucrats in the State Department and the Department of Defense who were actively undermining directives delivered by the commander-in-chief. and gloating about it, it being celebrated by the mainstream media.
As you're taught as an Army Reserve officer, now a lieutenant colonel, hit me with that again. You're saying that there are actual directives from the commander-in-chief that are brazenly not being followed by the Department of Defense,
Yes.
not just the civilian branch,
Yes.
but also the uniformed services?
Yes.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It's a fact. It's a fact, and this is not a secret. This is a well-known fact. Why is this such a huge problem? Because our system of governance in this democratic republic was built upon we the people choosing who we want to serve in these positions of leadership. So when we make a choice for who our commander-in-chief is going to be, bureaucrats in the State Department or Department of Defense, they think so little of the American people that they will try to enact their policies and reject the person that the people have chosen to lead as President and Commander-in-Chief. That is the seriousness of what occurred, with no consequence, no punishment, no accountability. But this is what we are facing now. We've just seen, even the other day, President Biden's administration is openly admitting they're already taking steps, administrative steps, to be able to prevent Donald Trump, if he is elected again, to enact the policies that he is running on in this campaign. They have no respect for the American people. That's the most offensive thing that angers me most. This is not about one candidate or another candidate. They have no respect for the American people. This isn't about agreeing or disagreeing with policies. If we have people in power who are no name, not accountable, unelected, who have no respect for the American people and our system of democracy, that's how we lose our democracy.
In the NDA